What do you want, soldier?
To see César, I've got to give him this.
No, Caesar's got enough galls. Go and jump in the lake.
Oh.
The character I am collecting in this video is Obelix from Asterix and Obelix Take on César. Released in 1999, it is the first live-action film based on the French comic book series Astérix the Gaul. As in the comics, Obelix is Asterix's best friend, and while his childlike intelligence and constant request for food make him a frustrating companion, his superhuman strength makes him a strong ally.
Get the magic potion ready. We've got some Romans to welcome.
Oh, leave them to me. There's only 20 there.
The film, which at the time was the most expensive French film ever made, gives a more realistic aesthetic to the world of Asterix, compared to the later live-action adaptations of the comics. For example, the Roman army's uniform is red, not green and blue, and instead of being topless, Obelix wears a waistcoat and Celtic armbands. His hair colour is also a lighter brown rather than dark red. Obelix is played by Gérard Depardieu, whose other work around the time of making this film includes Le Comte de Monte Cristo, The Man in the Iron Mask, Vatel, and 102 Dalmatians.
Oui, mais moi je suis le vrai Obélix, le vrai. Les autres, c'était que des imitations.
The acclaimed but controversial actor would go on to play Gaul's strongest Gaul in 3 of the 4 live-action Asterix films that followed this one.
Have you eaten that entire animal?
Of course. Only my 3rd wild boar.
Oh, sorry, he's only had 3 wild boars.
On his way to the set in May 1998, Gérard crashed his motorbike due to being drunk. He injured his leg, making him unable to work on the film for 40 days. Since then, he has had several more motor accidents. In the English dub of Astérix Obélix contre César, Terry Jones of Monty Python fame voiced the character. Around that same time, Jones appeared in another French film, Le Créateur, and voiced Professor Mackerel in the English dub of the Danish film Help, I'm a Fish.
Oh, look! Soldiers! Let's have a fight!
Obelix, not now!
Oh,
come on, we got to
it's a
get
pity to waste them up.
Obelix first appears walking through a forest alongside Asterix and Dogmatix within the first 30 seconds of the film, during the opening credit sequence. They are then not seen for another 9 minutes.
The Romans are Romans. I haven't seen hair nor hide of them, not for a fortnight, not a sign, no ambush, nothing.
What do you expect? You put off all the Romans, you hit hard, humiliates them.
I humiliate them.
While Asterix carries a dead boar on his shoulders, Obelix has one of his trademark rocket-shaped rocks, called menhirs, except instead of carrying it with his hands behind his back, he is wearing an oversized support strap.
Then they got beaten up by a fat ass.
A fat ass?
Yeah.
What fat ass?
Huh?
Who are you talking about?
Who do you think I'm talking about? You, Obelix.
Oh, right.
A recurring joke in the comics is that Obelix is in complete denial about his weight, and gets very cross, sometimes violent, if someone says he is fat. Therefore, simply shrugging off his supposed best friend calling him fat in such a malicious, blunt tone is unfaithful to said character trait that was established 30 comics ago. The Romans try to crush our heroes by dropping an enormous slab of rock onto them. Obelix's menhir saves the Gauls, and the impact of 25 tons colliding with another 25 tons collapses the ground underneath them. With help from the magic potion, the Gauls excavate themselves.
Oh, Christmas bonus. Yeah, Christmas bonus. Don't you feel like playing with your friends anymore?
Centurion Christmas Bonus was the first main antagonist of the first Asterix adventure. In the comic, he was confident and authoritative, while here he is portrayed as a blubbering coward. That night during the banquet, the beautiful and very busty Panacea returns to the village, having apparently been studying an unspecified subject in Lutetia.
Oh, but she's changed.
Ah, you can say that again. She's put on a few pounds, but in the right places.
As in the comic Asterix the Legionary, the bashful Obelix is smitten by Panacea, whom he's known since she was a child.
Look out, or I'll eat it for you!
Oh, go ahead, it's all yours. I can't manage any more things.
I don't believe I'm hearing this. Turning down a wild boar? Are you ill?
No, not at all. I'm fine.
Obelix is about to propose to Panacea, but the arrival of her boyfriend, Tragicomix, takes her fancy more than the engagement boulder Obelix carved. Taking a few pages from The Soothsayer comic, a man wearing a wolfskin coat named Prolix claims to be a fortune-teller and tells the villagers about a Roman tax collector's carriage of coins he knows will be knocking on the village gate the next day, and if they steal it, the money will help Chief Vital Statistics overthrow the Roman Empire. Much to Asterix's annoyance, the chief believes the charlatan. So does Obelix when he inquires whether he and Panacea will have a future together.
Guess what the fortune teller said?
He said you'd marry Panacea.
Are you a fortune teller as well?
Ridiculous the tax collector and his escort enter the village, and instead of money are presented with armour left behind by other Romans who have previously fought the village.
If I were you, I'd take this junk to the scrapyard and see what you can get for it.
Or maybe you could sell them to an antique shop. This would make a chamber pot. César could have a go on it.
Asterix and Obelix taunt Ridiculous, and he orders his men to attack. They flee battered and bruised, and leaving behind a large chest of coins. Vital Statistics appoints Obelix guardian of the treasure. At the same moment, Asterix tries to deliver the money back to the Romans.
As Lord Chief Keeper of the Treasure, I order you to stop!
Until now, Julius Caesar has been unaware that one tiny village has been refusing to submit to Roman occupation, and orders the nearest garrison of legionaries, led by Christmas Bonus, to attack the village. The villagers put their financial differences aside and attack their attackers. During the Battle of the Tortoises, Obelix engages in hand-to-sword combat with the wobbly centurion.
My go! My go!
Our heroes spot someone important looking down on them, and by comparing his profile to a coin, realise it is none other than César, whom Obelix inadvertently humiliates even more than slapping his army with ease.
Hey, Julie! What's happened to your soldiers? Haven't you any more for us to play with?
Obelix.
That night, while Obelix entertains the villagers by impersonating Julius Caesar, Prolix combines a magic mushroom omelette and hypnosis to trick Asterix into believing the villagers are Roman soldiers and his best friend really is the Roman dictator.
I'll have your guts, César!
Asterix! Don't hurt him!
Luckily, due to being infinitely strong, Obelix cannot be injured by his hallucinating friend. Getfix the Druid instructs Cacophonix the Bard to sing as loud as he can, thus snapping our hero back to reality. Meanwhile, Prolix and his cronies have galloped away, taking the treasure with them, and are never seen again, as the film ignores the fact that the magic potion can make people run faster than the fastest athlete. And so, as the stolen taxes plotline comes to an abrupt end, the film moves on to its second act. Asterix and Obelix accompany Getfix to the Carnutes Forest, where a Druids' convention is taking place. Non-Druids are not permitted to witness the actual convention, which this year has been infiltrated by Romans, led by Caesar's exuberant and dishonest advisor, Detritus. As Dogmatix followed Getfix into the forest, he alerts Asterix and Obelix, who is still love-lorning over Panacea.
I wish you'd forget about this diet. Panacea's not going to marry you just because you've lost some weight. Panacea doesn't love you.
Obelix frees the hung druids from their branches by shaking the tree they had been tied to. As Caesar has sent for reinforcements to surround the village, Asterix's plan is for Obelix to dress as a legionary and take him into the camp as a prisoner, making it easier for them to find and rescue the druid.
You're Obelix, okay?
Right.
You take me to Caesar, okay?
Okay.
And you stay as Obelix until you hear me say Obelix by Tutatis turn into Obelix, okay?
But as Asterix is taken away to the dungeon, Obelix cannot hear him call for help, due to a Roman patrol clanking loudly past.
Well done, Obelix! I'll triple your salary!
I'd rather some lunch.
A good choice! Take him to the kitchen and triple his lunch!
Caesar is informed that Detritus is plotting to overthrow him, and so orders his arrest. They bump into Obelix, who is searching for dogmatics, and when Centurion Oblivious shouts at him, Obelix knocks out Oblivious and all his men.
Soldier! You're the very man I need!
Detritus promises Obelix that Asterix is fine, and persuades the strong simpleton to help him capture Caesar. That night, Detritus has organised a typical Roman game that is both lavish and hellish. Asterix is the contestant, fighting for his life against snakes, lions, alligators, tarantulas, an elephant, and a freak. Before the show starts, Obelix briefly imagines one of the dancing girls is Panacea. Maybe Prolix put some mushroom powder into his wine. All this time, Obelix has been waiting for Asterix to tell him he can stop pretending to be a legionary. And fortunately for our heroes, Detritus is a good lip reader.
What he said was, Obelix, buy two tarts, you're really Obelix, and get a move on.
You sure, are you?
Of course I am!
At last!
Now it is Obelix's turn to tackle all the dangerous animals Asterix came very close to being killed by. Down in the dungeon, Obelix frees Getafix while Asterix warmly greets Dogmatics.
Dogmatics!
For those unfamiliar with this series, moments like this must have indicated that Dogmatics belongs to Asterix, whereas the little dog actually belongs to Obelix, who normally is very doting towards the dog, and becomes very defensive whenever his canine abilities are questioned, and very unhappy if he fears the animal might be in danger. Speaking of Dogmatics, despite being present during the first half of the film, the little dog's name is not said until the 45-minute mark, where it is pronounced Dogmatics.
Come on, Dogmatics!
Noticing another prisoner in the dungeon, who has his face hidden by an iron mask, the Gauls take him with them to the village, where Obelix's mighty fingers reveals him to be Julius C. An agreement is made between the Roman Emperor and Chief Vital Statistics. If the Gauls help him defeat Detritus, he will instruct his armies to leave the village in peace.
Let me go and change first. I'm sick of being a Roman. Sorry.
As the Romans outnumber them 1,000 to 1, and with only one cauldron of magic potion left for the villagers to drink, Asterix and Obelix follow Getafix into a cave underneath the village to ask the druid's 600-year-old grandfather, Methuselix, for a bottle of two-headed unicorn milk, which will make the magic potion even more powerful.
It's the end of his beard.
He's probably on the other end.
You worked it out by yourself?
Yep, yeah.
The mouldy old man refuses to give them the unicorn milk unless they answer two riddles correctly. Asterix deduces the first, and Obelix guesses the second, whereupon the infuriating Methuselix admits even he isn't sure what the correct answer is. Adding the milk to the magic potion, Obelix is permitted to drink some for the first time since he fell into a cauldron of it when he was a baby. Except for that time Getafix gave him some to smash through the stone walls of a pyramid they were trapped in. The two-headed unicorn milk makes its drinker duplicate, creating an army of Asterixes and Obelixes. After the Gauls tip over Detritus's siege tower, Caesar makes his presence known, halting the Romans advancing on the village, begging the question, why didn't he do this before the battle began? This film definitely creates its own timeline within the Asterix franchise, as it begins before Caesar knew about the one Gaulish village refusing to bow down to the might of Rome, and ends with a truce. While the Gauls celebrate their armistice with the Romans, Obelix pops the question to Panacea.
Obelix, of course I'm fond of you, but like a brother, like a friend, my cuddly bear Obelix. Mwah.
Seeing all the clones of himself gives Obelix an idea. He asks Getafix for a few drops of the duplicating liquid and asks Panacea to drink it, meaning he has a clone of her he doesn't have to share with Tragicomics.
In this situation, I suppose some men would take advantage.
But you wouldn't do that?
No, not me. No. But I wouldn't mind.
Unfortunately for Obelix, Getafix neglected to tell him that, as with the magic potion, the effects of the two-headed unicorn milk are temporary, and thus all the doubles burst into bubbles. In the final scene of the film, the news that today is Obelix's birthday is sprung on us, which seems extra surprising given this upcoming event was never mentioned, despite him being a main character.
You're the man who fights to keep us all free.
Obelix! Since you fell in the potion, you're as strong as can be. Obelix!
Julius Caesar has sent Obelix a present, a legion of candle-lit Romans, with Christmas bonus as the centre filling.
Yeah.
The film's final shot zooms out from the village into the moonlit forest, but also features Obelix rather awkwardly lunging in and out of the trembling Romans. Overall, Obelix is active for 85% of this 110-minute movie.
Maybe now I should knock you about a bit so you look like a real pister. Let's see now. Panacea doesn't love me, eh?
What? Of course he doesn't.
Okay.